OMG Taehyung with Jungkook, a moment that spoke without words. Hello everyone, and welcome back. There are moments that don't arrive with noise. They don't announce themselves. They don't demand attention. And yet, the second they appear, you feel them. Today, that moment is simple, and at the same time overwhelming. Taehyung with Jungkook. No dramatic music, no grand gestures, no obvious attempt to create something memorable. But somehow, when the camera captures them together, everything else fades into the background. Time slows, the noise softens, and all that remains is a quiet connection that feels impossible to ignore. This is not about what they say. This is not about what they do. This is about how they exist beside each other. Taehyung stands with a calm that feels almost unshakable, like someone who understands himself deeply and moves through the world at his own pace. There is a stillness to him, a quiet gravity that draws people in without effort. Jungkook, on the other hand, carries a warmth that feels alive. His presence is gentle yet attentive, filled with energy that never feels chaotic, only sincere. When these two energies meet, they don't collide. They balance. There is space between them, yet no distance. There is closeness, yet no pressure. There is comfort, without any need to prove it. And that is where the magic lives. To someone passing by, this might look like just another shared frame. A brief interaction. Nothing extraordinary. But for ARMY who have followed their journey for years, this moment feels heavier than it looks. Because this is not something that appeared overnight. Taehyung and Jungkook grew up together. They trained together. They struggled, learned, laughed, failed, and succeeded, side by side. Their connection was not built on stages or cameras. It was built in practice rooms, in late nights, in moments of exhaustion when no one was watching. And that kind of bond leaves traces. You see it in the way Jungkook instinctively turns his head toward Taehyung. Not as a performance, but as a reflex. You see it in the way Taehyung remains calm, as if Jungkook's presence is something familiar, grounding, already woven into his rhythm. There is no hesitation, no awkward pause, no adjustment, just ease. And ease like that cannot be faked. In an industry where every move is analyzed, planned, and perfected, their interaction feels different. It feels untouched by expectation. They are not trying to show closeness. They are not trying to send a message. They simply are, and that authenticity is rare. Sometimes, the strongest connections are not expressed through words. They don't need dramatic gestures or constant reassurance. Sometimes, they exist in silence, in shared glances, in relaxed posture, in the absence of tension. Taehyung with Jungkook is a perfect example of that kind of connection. They don't steal the spotlight, yet the spotlight finds them, not because they demand attention, but because something about their presence together feels honest, as if for just a moment, the world allows us to see something real beneath the layers of performance. ARMY often try to understand it. What is this feeling? Why does it feel so warm? Why does it stay with us long after the moment passes? But perhaps it doesn't need to be explained. Not every bond needs a definition. Not every emotion needs a label. Some connections are meaningful precisely because they exist without explanation. And when Taehyung stands beside Jungkook, that meaning reaches us quietly, clear, steady, and deeply human. This moment reminds us of something important. Behind the stages, the awards, and the global fame, BTS are still people. They still carry trust. They still rely on familiarity. They still find comfort in those who have walked beside them for years. And maybe that is why this moment feels so powerful. Because we are not watching a concept. We are not watching a performance. We are witnessing a bond shaped by time. A bond that doesn't need to be loud. A bond that doesn't need to prove itself. A bond strong enough to be quiet. When the camera moves away, when the crowd shifts its focus, this feeling remains. A warmth, a calm, A sense that something genuine just passed in front of our eyes. OMG Taehyung with Jungkook. And once again, without trying to be anything more than themselves, they remind us why moments like this matter. Because in a world full of noise, they give us something rare, a moment that feels real.